Biosolution. Please don't forget to subscribe, right? So, yeah, as we know, the channel is completely dedicated for NEET aspirants. Today, we will be learning about a special topic in your biology, which you will be requiring at time of or something related to your animal kingdom as well as for the human reproduction. So we will be today learning about the concept that is the type of eggs which is seen in case of animals. Okay. So as we know, animals which undergo sexual reproduction require the gamete formation. So one important gametes are the eggs. So the eggs are of different type. So let's have a look on it. So types of egg, basically it is being classified on basis of the yolk quantity. Okay, that means the quantity of yolk that is present. Now you may have a question, what is a yolk, right? Hope you have seen a chicken egg, right? So in chicken egg, the yellow color portion that has been present, isn't it, in the chicken egg, that's what you call it as a yolk of a egg, right? It's a yolk of a egg. Now in case of the chicken egg, the yolk part of the egg is actually little bit more, because you know that chick eggs hatches outside the mother's body. But when you take other kind of animals, like for let's take human, in that the egg one after fertilize, it has to develop within the mother's womb itself. So all the nourishment and things will be automatically obtained from mother's body system itself, right? So when you compare such type of egg, of course the yolk formation will be less comparatively to those of the egg that you see for the reptiles, right? Reptiles, birds, etc. So in this basis, one thing you can think that we can classify the type of egg first on basis of quantity of egg, whether it is less, more or moderate. And the second basis of classification is purely on how this yolk is distributed throughout. Okay. So that two simple concept is what we are going to look into today. So please students, remember what are the two bases of classification of the egg? Yes, yolk quantity as well as the yolk distribution. Now let's see them in detail. Based on the yolk quantity, you have them divided as microlecithal, okay, microlecithal, mesolecithal, or the third type is macrolecithal. You can also call it as polylecithal or megalecithal. So generally there are three different types of the egg which is being classified on basis of yolk quantity, remember. Starting from the microlecithal, let's see. Microlecithal contain a very less amount of the yolk. Okay, so within the egg portion, what you can see, very little or less amount of yolk is being present in the egg. And these are mainly seen in animals such as sea urchin belonging to the phylum Echinoderm, Hermania belonging to phylum Protochordata, and fishes which belongs to Cephalochordate. So these organisms you basically see very less amount of the yolk, or you can say that yolk has been distributed as tiny platelets as shown here. So this is a typical example for a microlecithal, where you can see the red color denoted here as I am drawing here. You can see those are the yolk platelets. Okay, these are the yolk platelets. So they are just distributed throughout the cytoplasmic region of the egg, right? And but the yolk quantity is very less, negligible. So since it is a negligible yolk quantity, you call it as a microlecithal egg. Now little bit egg also we will check into. So okay, with the structure of the egg, let's see that. Typically a egg has a nucleus at the center, right, with the genetic material. Of course the portion, since it is a cell, of course the portion is been having a dense of the cytoplasm and its respective organelles will be present. Within the cytoplasm, in case of microlecithal, the yolk, as I mentioned earlier, they are distributed as tiny platelets throughout the cytoplasmic region. So that forms the yolk platelets. And around this cytoplasmic thing, of course, there should be a cell membrane, right? So here we call it as perimethyl membrane. So it contains a membrane structure, and then it also has numerous of corona radiata type of cells that is distributed throughout the perimethyl membrane or the space. And the region which is being seen towards or near to that of the nucleus, you call that structure as animal pole, where the entry of the sperm is being made possible. Okay, so that once the entry of the sperm happen through the animal pole region, it can directly fuse with that of the nucleus. On just opposite to the animal pole, eggs usually have a region called as vegetal pole, which actually doesn't take part in any other process of entry of the sperm or anything. It's just a region that is just opposite to your animal pole. So remember, everywhere, whatever type of egg it is, it will be having general features such as it will be having an animal pole, the region near to the nucleus. Opposite to the animal pole, the other region, it is called as a vegetal pole. Then it has a central nucleus region with genetic material, of course filled by the fluid material called as cytoplasm with lot of organelles. And in case of microlecithal, this cytoplasm has a scattering of which one? Yes, the yolk platelet. And hope you do remember the examples also, which type of organism: sea urchin of Echinodermata, Hermania of Protochordata, and Amphias of the Cephalochordata have microlecithal eggs. Now let's move on to the next microlecithal. Microlecithal can be seen to be little bit modified, okay, little bit modified to form in case of the human egg. So here you can see that the human eggs are the type of microlecithal itself, but they may have highly reduced yolk, or almost the yolk cell will be absent. So human egg also what will have? It will have the corona radiata, the crown-like cell surrounding it, the perivenline space. As you can say, this is the perivenline space, right, forming with the outer and inner perivenline membrane. And the yellow color portion shows your cytoplasmic region, and then it may or may not have the yolk platelets. So such condition you call it as a alecithal, because they are devoid, almost devoid of the yolk. And then of course they have the animal pole region as well as the vegetal pole region. So this is also a category of the cell or egg cell, which is depending upon absence of date of the yolk cell. Moving to the second category, that is mesolecithal. In microlecithal, what we said, there is very less amount of the yolk. In mesolecithal, the condition changes. Mesolecithal have the yolk content in a moderate form. That means a good amount is there, a half of amount itself, right? These can be seen in lamprey, lungfish, frogs, toads, etc., where you can see the region, more half of them is being filled up with which one? Yolk cell, and the other part is with the cytoplasm. Of course, as it is a cell, it will have the nuclear region, which is being near to the nuclear region. For the sperm entry, there is a animal pole, and the opposite region of animal pole, here also they have vegetal pole, and of course they too have the perivenline space around this membrane with the corona radiata. So these category of egg, you call it as a mesolecithal. Remember, what is the condition? Moderate amount. That means a good amount of the yolk is present in the egg. Hope it's not that confusing for you. Third one is the macrolecithal or polylecithal, right, or the megalecithal. See, almost the whole part of the egg, you can see it is being composed of which one? The yolk portion. So yellow color portion, apart from the disc region, you can see that the entire yellow color portion shown here is having the yolk region. So it has what? A very large amount of the yolk content present. You call it as a macrolecithal or polylecithal or megalecithal. There are certain organisms like shark, insects, bony fishes, reptile, birds, etc., which have this type of macrolecithal type of egg. They have a huge amount of the region that is being covered with the help of a yolk, and it has a disc-like portion which we call it as germinal disc because it contains the nucleus region. And do remember, as this general characteristic of egg, they have an animal pole near to the nucleus and vegetal pole away from that of the animal pole region. Now, depending on the second category of that of the egg classification, that is the distribution of that of yolk. Okay, the second category is based on distribution of yolk throughout the egg, right? That was the second classification. On that basis, we have the first category, that is homolecithal egg, where yolk is uniformly distributed throughout the egg. Don't you remember the egg that we studied in alecithal, isn't it? What was the structure? You had their yolk platelets distributed evenly within the cytoplasm, right? So you can consider a alecithal egg or even the microlecithal egg as a homolecithal in nature. So eggs of annelid, mollusca, echinodermata, protochordata have homolecithal egg where yolk is uniformly distributed. The second category of the egg on basis of distribution of yolk is telolecithal. So telolecithal will resemble your mesolecithal because they have a moderate amount of yolk, and this yolk distribution is seen to be concentrated towards the vegetal pole. That is a key point. You can see the egg yolk is being distributed to which region? Vegetal pole. Remember, we mentioned two pole region, right? Animal pole and vegetal pole, which is a general feature of an egg. The region near to the nucleus, you call it as animal pole. Away from that nucleus region, vegetal pole. So if the yolk is distributed and concentrated in vegetal pole, you call such egg as telolecithal. So telolecithal you can see where? Yes, as we saw, it can be seen in the eggs of the amphibians. The third category which we see here is a myolecithal. Myolecithal have their yolk distributed nearly the entire cytoplasmic region or ooplasmic region. So you can see here it resembles the form of polylecithal egg too, because you can see that the entire region of the egg portion is distributed with which one? Yolk, with a small germinal disc at the top, right? So these could be seen, as we studied earlier, these could be seen in the egg laying mammals, reptiles and birds. We have the fourth category of egg, which you call it as centrolecithal egg, where you can see the nucleus, a small nucleus with genetic material, a huge amount of cytoplasm, and at the center exactly the yolk is getting distributed. It has a fixed position to be placed or localized at the center. That is how the name came as centrolecithal, right? So centrolecithal is a unique feature of eggs of the insect, you can see basically. So yes, these were the two category of the eggs that we have been seen till now. So remember, let's just summarize. You have two categories of egg. One is on basis of distribution of egg and another one is on basis of quantity of egg. Under quantity of egg, you have three category: microlecithal, mesolecithal and macrolecithal. While under the distribution of egg, you have them as four category, starting from the central localized one, which you call it as centrolecithal, and then followed by the one which you have the myolecithal, where the whole disc is being covered, and then you have a telolecithal where moderate yolk that is distributed towards the vegetal pole, and the last one homolecithal, which is similar to your microlecithal, where you can see the yolk is uniformly distributed from the cytoplasm, right? So hope the class was very beneficial for you. So we have undergone a very small concept today, the different type of eggs and how they can be classified. So stay tuned children to the channel. All the best.